Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to welcome you to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Daily Recap, where we give you a recap of all of the hot topics that we covered that day. You can catch them in their long format and also catch it fully streaming for free on Apple Podcasts. So as you guys know, the trade deadline, probably by the time you see this show, the trade deadline would have passed, right? But one of the people we kept hearing about was Giannis Antetokounmpo being traded to the Golden State Warriors. And one of the people that we heard that got put on the trade block was Draymond Green, right? Draymond did a show about it, reacting to it. They were like, if Draymond goes to Milwaukee, he's not going to stay in Milwaukee. Then Draymond is talking about he wants to play with LeBron James and all of these different things, right? But, you know, Draymond was the guy that was supposed to get traded. By the way, last night, he ended up not getting traded. Giannis didn't work out for the Warriors because the Milwaukee Bucks turned down the package that they presented to them. Instead, they traded away Jonathan Kuminga and Buddy Hield, and they got back Kristaps Porzingis. So Draymond seems to be safe. But prior to all of that, they were talking about this on ESPN First Take with Chris Mad Dog Russo and Stephen A. Smith. And I'm just assuming that they were probably on the road preparing for the Super Bowl against the Seahawks and the New England Patriots. Shows you how much of a football guy I am. So they were on the road, right? Talking about it. And then anyway, they started to talk about Draymond Green. And as Stephen A. Smith is talking about Draymond Green, you could literally see Stephen A. Smith stop short of calling Draymond Green a bum on live TV. And Chris Mad Dog was just sitting there like pretty much cracking up with it, because essentially that's what he was calling him. Because he was essentially saying, bro, you're going to be nothing without Stephen Curry, bro. You're going to be nothing without him. So what we want to do is we're going to play the sound for you now, and I'm going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to this here.
I think a lot of people want to know, like, how I feel about it. Like, am I upset about it? Or, like, I'm not at all. Like, you know, I don't. If that's what's best for this organization, that's what's best for the organization. You know, I'm not like, oh, man, they me over or something like that. Like, I don't really feel that way. Like, I've been here for 13 and a half years. I don't know that it ends at 13 and a half, but if it does, what a run it's been. I'll take the fine for it. What a run it's been. So that's just how I feel.
I appreciate this from Draymond. A little positivity. That was my first time hearing that sound. I thought it was very good. That was Draymond last night, obviously responding to trade rumors that maybe his time with Golden State is done after a nearly 14-year career there. Would it be a mistake to trade Draymond Green away from the Warriors?
At this point, no. Because if you could keep him while getting Giannis, you don't move him. If Jimmy Butler was still healthy, you keep him. But because that's not the case and you're not going anywhere and you'd have to utilize him in the trade in order to get somebody of a Giannis Antetokounmpo, you make that deal. I will tell you, Draymond won't spend a minute in Milwaukee. He ain't trying to be there. And I read this stat off to Doggy, so America needs to know this. Do you know that approximately 85% of Draymond Green's career assists have gone to Steph Curry, including over 600 three-pointers? So guess what? You ain't running into no shooter like Steph Curry. Matter of fact, I wouldn't blame Draymond if he got traded, if he retired. I wouldn't blame him. I'm not. That's hyperbole. I understand because I'm not expecting that, but I'm just saying that's how much Steph Curry is meant to him.
Fantastic. So you heard what they had to say. Now, before we even get into what Stephen A. Smith had to say, his comments, let's look at Draymond's numbers this year, man. So Draymond, another triple single, man. He's averaging 8.6 points, 4 points per game, on 32% three-point shooting, 41% field goal shooting, 70% for the free throw line, getting you 5.7 rebounds, 5.2 assists per game, and 0.7 blocks. Draymond Green hasn't averaged double digits in points since 2017, bro. That was the last time Draymond Green averaged over 10 points per game. So obviously Draymond is not a scorer, but let's just keep it real for a second here. Draymond, yes, he's a great defender, great glue guy, great team guy or whatever it is, although he's, the fact is, man, you got lucky playing with Stephen Curry, bro. These are the facts. You lucked up when you had an opportunity for Stephen Curry to be your teammate. These are the facts, bro. You're playing with the greatest shooter in NBA history, one of the best ball handlers in NBA history, one of the most famous basketball players in NBA history. And might I remind you, Stephen Curry had the #1 jersey sale last year. Stephen Curry was the #1. And if all of his peers from his class, his age range, let's say, Curry was a starter. LeBron James wasn't a starter in an all-star game. Kevin Durant wasn't a starter in an all-star game. Stephen Curry was. And what Stephen A. Smith was saying was that if these are your numbers playing with Steph, what do you expect Draymond's numbers to be without Steph? We all knew what it was going to be. Even I think Draymond knows that. That's the reason why you saw when Draymond was having a back and forth with Kenyon Martin. Kenyon Martin was like, I can name, I think he said, 30 or 50 players at your position that are better than you in the sport. We all know this. Draymond is going to go into the Hall of Fame because he played with Stephen Curry. He played with Kevin Durant, and he got to play with Klay Thompson. This is a fact. This is, if Draymond did not play with Steph and you asked him to be a #2 guy on the team, is Draymond Green a Hall of Fame player? Now, he was good when he started. Even that game in Game 7 in the NBA Finals against Cleveland, he had like a 40-point game, and he could have probably won the MVP in that game had they won that game with that performance he had in Game 7. But let's just be real here. Look at Draymond's numbers over the last, as I said, he hasn't averaged double digits in how many seasons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And that's playing with Steph and all of the attention that he garners for himself. Right? But trust me, now that the trade went down, Draymond is still there. I think Draymond Green is relieved to be with Stephen, to still be teammates with Stephen Curry. He's a once in a lifetime generational player, man. A once in a lifetime guy. And this guy just so happens to be your teammate. So Stephen A. Smith wasn't saying anything else that everybody else thinks. What Stephen A. was saying is the same thing everybody else thinks about Draymond and his relationship with Steph in terms of a basketball player. We all know that, right? Before we even begin, I want to put up a picture right now. I want us to put up a picture right now with LeBron James wearing the shirt, Check My Stats. Take a look at this image here. Fantastic. That's LeBron James wearing a shirt, Check My Stats, after he lost in an NBA Finals, I believe in Saint-Tropez or wherever he was, right? Now let's continue on. Now, we all know that LeBron is a stat padder, right? We all know this. And we've seen examples of this. You don't need to look any further than when his 10-point streak was in jeopardy. And he only had like 6 points, and he stayed in the game during a blowout. He got a free throw, and then he made sure to get a 3, and then immediately he got his 10 points. He checked out of the game. We've already heard sound from Tyronn Lue talking about in NBA Finals games. In an NBA Finals game, he asked LeBron to do more. He's like, look at my stats. We've already heard that LeBron checks his stats throughout the game to see how he's playing and what his percentages are. And we've already heard all of this before. The problem is, it seems like LeBron doesn't remember that he already said all these things before. What am I talking about? I was literally going through the internet here looking for what to talk about. And I came across an article from basketballnetwork.net that will stun you. Let me read the headline. LeBron calls out fans obsessed with stats and highlights. People read into that bleep. The Lakers superstar criticized modern NBA discourse driven by stats and social media. Folks, you cannot even make this up. You literally can't make this stuff up. Okay, let's get into the article. It says, with the rise of social media and the worldwide spread of information, it is easier than ever for a regular fan to catch up with the game of basketball just by watching a 5-minute highlight reel or checking the box score after the game. However, LeBron James, for many the greatest player to ever pick up a basketball, believes that this obsession with statistics is a major reason why certain players are unfairly criticized by fans and even more commonly, the members of the media. He continues on. In today's NBA discourse, the narrative can be formed from a single game from a single game number that is taken out of context or a moment in a game that was tuned into a highlight reel on social media. The Los Angeles Lakers superstar has never been shy about pushing back against this approach, especially in an era when all the conversation about basketball feel more number-based than ever before. Continues on. Here's what he said. You have so many watchers of just stat sheets. You have guys that just do like this after the game, and they go to their phone and look. James pointed out in a recent episode of Mind the Game podcast. People read into that bleep because everything in the whole narrative of our game is all about like, just get a bucket. He ain't a bucket getter. Well, he's not great. He's overrated. And then the article then goes on to say a few other things, man. You can't make this up, man. You can't make it up. LeBron's whole argument for being a GOAT is based on stats. That's the reason he went after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record. Literally. That is the reason why. We already brought up the example of him monitoring stats, checking it. We already know this. That's what his fans base their whole debate. His fans are now just a bunch of people that argue off of stats and accumulative numbers. Totals, basically. Totals of points, totals of that's their whole argument. So you saying that fans, you're talking about your fan base. This is what they all do. All they do is sit up there looking at percentages. Oh, Kobe Bryant shot 45% from the field. He can't be better than LeBron. LeBron shot 50% from the field. What is LeBron's this? How many points is LeBron averaging? How many is this? How many? And then you wore the shirt, check my stats. You can't make this stuff up. And the part that gets me is LeBron acts like as if we don't know, like he said otherwise before. For example, I give you the stuff about championship culture is weird. This is coming from a guy that said he became the greatest player of all time after he won the championship in 2016, just to turn around years later and say championship culture is weird. Like, you can't make this up. And my thing is, I don't understand why LeBron continuously does this. I don't see the need to make these especially when we know you pay attention to your numbers. For goodness sake, bro, you stayed in the game during a blowout to score 10 points. We all saw it. You're just as obsessed about stats as these fans that go around throwing these stat sheets in people's faces. You are. So to suggest otherwise and make it seem like it's annoying and these fans shouldn't be saying it, you're sending mixed signals to your own fan base, because literally that's what they use to argue against other players. Literally, stats. Stats. What do you think they're using to make this GOAT case? It's stats. They don't even value eye tests. They think that's some like nonsense. That's what they do. Literally, they said, how many points did he have? How many minutes does he have? I played the most minutes in him. Even you yourself say, I played this amount of minutes. I've done this amount of time. I got this amount of rebound. This is what y'all do. But now you're going to turn around and try to chastise the fans and talking about people read too much into it? What? What? Like, I just don't get it. I don't understand what the big idea is here. I don't know why they do this. I don't know. I don't know why LeBron and these guys do this, man.